Back in September 2021, I decided to book a weekend trip out to the east coast of Canada and wanted to find the cheapest way to do it. This tight budget brought me to Flair Airlines, an airline that I hadn't tried out yet but was excited to give them a go. Flair is an ultra-low-cost carrier based in Edmonton, Alberta that launched operations here in Canada back in 2005, but underwent a major rebranding and began massive expansion in 2019. As a part of this expansion, they ordered 13 brand new Boeing 737-8 MAXs in January 2021 to add to their existing fleet of Boeing 737-800s. As of the end of 2021, Flair was operating a fleet of 12 aircraft to over 25 destinations across Canada and the United States, with plans to launch flights to Mexico starting in February 2022. Flair has ordered additional 737 MAXs and plans to continue their rapid expansion with the goal of a 50 aircraft fleet by 2025. Now that we've covered the basics, it's time for the full Flair Airlines experience. Right now, I'm at home in downtown Montreal and it's Thursday, September 30th, 2021. I'm booked to fly Montreal to Halifax, Nova Scotia tomorrow at 6 p.m. on Flair Airlines Flight 827. Being an ultra-low-cost carrier, there isn't much that's provided free of charge, and that starts with check-in. Online check-in opens 24 hours before the flight departure time, where you can hop online and print off your boarding passes before heading to the airport. If you choose to check in at the airport, that'll cost you $15 Canadian plus tax. Ouch! So needless to say, I'll be checking in online and printing off my boarding pass at home. Going in through the Flair website and entering my reservation number, first you're asked a series of health check questions to verify that you're fit to travel. After that, you can purchase any add-ons including carry-on baggage, checked baggage, priority boarding, pets in the cabin, and seat selection. With a Flair ticket, all that's included is your carriage and a single personal item weighing up to 7 kilograms. Anything beyond that is certainly going to cost you. To add a carry-on bag weighing up to 10 kilograms for storage in the overhead bins, it's $39 Canadian plus tax for my flight to Halifax when purchased online in advance, or $59 Canadian plus tax when purchased at the airport or at the gate. There's a similar pricing structure for checked baggage, with the first checked bag weighing up to 23 kilograms, costing $56 Canadian plus tax for my flight when purchased online, or $79 Canadian plus tax when purchased at the airport or at the gate. For this trip, I purchased one carry-on bag, but will not be checking any hold luggage. Submitting my check-in, that's all for tonight. Now it's time to go pack. It's 3:30 p.m. on Friday, October 1st now, and I'm catching the STM 747 Express bus from Lionel Groux Metro Station to Montreal's Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport. There's a long line for the bus this afternoon, and some heavy rush hour traffic meant it would be a long ride, taking over 45 minutes. But after arriving at the airport, that still gives me about an hour and a half until my flight departs. The bus stop is on the arrivals level at Trudeau Airport, and it's quite a long walk up to security clearance on the departures level. Since I checked in online last night and I'm not checking any baggage, I don't need to visit the check-in counters today. Popping up on the departures level, let's take a quick look at the departures board. My flight to Halifax is due to depart at 6:05 p.m. from gate A21. It's 4:35 p.m. now, and I'm ready to head over to the security checkpoint. There are two main checkpoints at Montreal's Trudeau Airport, one for US departures and the other for domestic and international departures. The line for the domestic international checkpoint isn't too long, and it took a total of 10 minutes from entry to the line to the exit of screening. Exiting screening at 4:45 p.m., I'm gonna grab dinner before my flight, since I expect the food offerings on board Flair Airlines to be slim. With my Priority Pass membership, I found a seat at the Pork and Pickle restaurant near Gate A2 on the domestic pier. Priority Pass members can redeem for $37 Canadian worth of food and drink purchases at different partner restaurants, including this one. The meal was pretty decent, with an obviously overpriced menu for airport food, but tasty nonetheless, and best of all, free. After a very quick dinner, it's 5:30 p.m. now, and I'm heading over to Gate A21, where my flight will be departing from. Gate A21 is on the Iroquois Satellite Pier of Trudeau Airport. The Iroquois is a separate building accessible by an underground tunnel and walkway which connects it to the main domestic pier of the terminal. It houses gates A17 to A34, along with a couple restaurants and grab-and-go style places. The tunnel has people mover walkways in both directions to make the journey faster, but it doesn't appear to be working in my direction today, so I'll be getting my steps in instead. This building is one long concourse with gates on either side. My gate, A21, is the first one after stepping off the escalator from the tunnel. It's very busy over here this afternoon as people are jetting off or returning home for the weekend. The gate area for A21 is a good size, with rows of seating and charging stations located on some of the rows. Taking a peek at the aircraft taking me to Halifax today, I'll be on board this 4-month-old Boeing 737-8 MAX sporting Flair's green and black color scheme. This aircraft was delivered to Flair in June of 2021 and was only the second 737 MAX that Flair took delivery of after their first in late May. It's 5:40 p.m. now and boarding is underway through gate A21. Flair boards their aircraft by seat row, starting with the rows at the back and working their way forwards. As to be expected at this point, there's also a charge for seat selection to avoid getting one randomly assigned. For this flight, I selected a standard seat in row 25, costing $10 Canadian plus tax. Seats closer to the front cost about $5 more, and those with extra legroom or in exit rows are near $30 a seat. While we board, let's talk a bit about what today's trip is costing. The ticket I bought was $90 Canadian round trip, so about $45 each way, with all taxes and fees included. The majority of that cost was in taxes and airport fees, adding up to $89 and leaving the airline fare at only 99 cents. It really doesn't get much cheaper than that. On board the aircraft now and making my way down to the back, my first impressions are that the cabin is very modern, but the color schemes are quite bland, with gray seats and no other color pops, very different from the aircraft exterior. Arriving at row 25, seat 25A is the window seat on the left side of the aircraft. The row is quite tight and the seat backs are very tall, which seems to add to the cramped feel of the seat. The seats have a leather surface with no headrest and simply a flat back. The storage space at the seat is good, with enough room under the seat in front to store my small personal item and potentially something larger. The overhead bins are also a good size, and I was able to fit my standard size rollerboard bag with no issue. They are, however, not as large as the overhead bins on some other 737 MAXs, like Air Canada's, in which you can store rollerboard bags on their sides. There is no entertainment screen provided at the seat, but in May 2021, Flair launched their in-flight app, which allows travelers to access on-demand content and games while on board and connected to the in-flight Wi-Fi. It's free, but as of now is only available on certain flights, this one not included. Lower down on the seat back, there's a pouch for storing the provided reading materials. Looking at what's kept here, we have the safety information card for the 737-8 MAX and 737-800, along with a couple air sickness bags. The new Boeing Sky interiors on these 737 MAX aircraft use modern blue LED lighting and contoured ceilings to help give the cabin a more open feel. The cabin lighting is crisp and bright, none of the dingy yellow tint you experience in older cabins.
In a few moments, I will be closing the main cabin door. At that point, we will be doing our safety demonstration. It is a Transport Canada regulation that all the...
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight and captain speaking, welcome aboard. My name is Al.
As we get ready to push back from the gate, the captain announced that our flight time over to Nova Scotia will be around an hour and 15 minutes. It's a very full flight this evening, with almost every seat occupied.
Sit back, enjoy the ride, enjoy the hospitality, we'll talk to you there.
And it's about that time where we do our safety demonstration. Boeing 737-800 series. If you are wearing a headset, we do ask that you remove it. Thank you.
Features of this Boeing 737 aircraft. If you have not already done so, please fasten your seatbelt. To fasten it, insert the flat metal fitting into the buckle and pull.
Cet éclairage parcourt le long de la cabine afin de vous guider vers une sortie. Pour votre confort, la pression de la cabine est contrôlée. En cas de dépressurisation rapide, le compartiment au-dessus de vous s'ouvrira automatiquement et des masques comme ceci tomberont à votre...
With the safety demonstration underway, we're now pushing back from the gate and starting up the engines. It's 6:20 p.m. now, so we're about 15 minutes behind schedule so far.
Veuillez consulter la carte sur les consignes de sécurité afin de vous familiariser avec le fonctionnement de votre gilet de sauvetage.
Our departure this evening from runway 24 left will take us out to the west side of the airport before turning 180 degrees to begin our track for Halifax. After a 6:45 p.m. departure from Montreal, we're still climbing to our cruising altitude, and I'm getting ready to tuck in for what I expect to be a lavish in-flight service. Oh wait, I forgot where I was for a second. You see, these new 737 MAXs just don't give off a my dinner cost as much as this flight kind of vibe. It shouldn't be much of a surprise though that Flair doesn't offer any kind of complimentary in-flight service. No drinks, no snacks. In non-COVID times, they would have a selection of items available for purchase, though I would expect the rates to be rather steep. On flights where you can use the Flair app, you're also able to purchase food and drink through the app. Looking around the seat a bit more, one of my favorite features of these aircraft are the large windows, which offer some great views of what's below. They're equipped with standard pull-down window shades as opposed to the dimmer technology used on Boeing 787s. On the panel above the seat, there's a personal reading light along with personal adjustable air conditioning vents and an attendant call button. Every seat also comes with a tray table that folds out from the seat back in front. The table's quite large and is mounted on rails such that it can slide outwards towards you. Taking a walk to the back of the aircraft and checking out the two rear lavatories, they're very small as is standard on the 737 MAX. The bright lighting and mirrors help to make it feel a little less cramped, but there's really not much room to move around. Flair's aircraft are in an all-economy configuration with no premium cabin offering on any plane. These 737 MAXs pack in 189 seats in a 3-3 layout. Back at the seat, there's just enough room to work with a large laptop, but if you're running low on battery, you're gonna be out of luck. There are no AC power outlets or USB charging ports at any seat on Flair's 737 MAX aircraft. I have to say, I'm a really big fan of the dark blue accent lighting in the ceiling when the cabin lights are dimmed.
procedure for arrivals in hours of darkness. Should you require any additional reading light, there is one up above you. Thank you.
40 minutes since our departure from Montreal, and the captain has announced that we're preparing to begin our descent for Halifax Stanfield International Airport.
And all carry-on baggage has been stowed. While walking to the terminal building and be alert to other aircraft and vehicles. On behalf of the captain and your in-flight crew, thank you for traveling with Flair Airlines.
After touching down in Halifax at 8:57 p.m. with the 1 hour time difference, we're now taxiing over to our gate. It's absolutely pouring here, but hopefully it won't stay like that all weekend. Parking at the gate at 9:05 p.m., 25 minutes later than our originally scheduled arrival time of 8:40 p.m.
Watch your step, okay? It's a bit wet there.
As we deplane, I'm headed straight for the exit with no baggage to collect in baggage claim. One note about flying into Nova Scotia at the time of this trip is that all travelers are required to complete an online travel declaration form known as Safe Check-in, even when coming in from a domestic flight. Those who are unvaccinated are required to quarantine on arrival in the province, and those who are fully vaccinated don't need to quarantine. As you show your declaration confirmation when exiting the airport, they were also handing out voluntary rapid test kits for you to take home and complete. Thanks for joining for this trip. Now for some comments about the experience overall. Given the price I paid for this flight, my expectations going into it were quite low, but I have to say I was generally really impressed. It was a hassle-free, mostly on-time flight on a brand new, modern aircraft, and while yes, it was a fairly no-frills experience, it got the job done. One thing I would caution though is that with such hefty charges for carry-ons and checked luggage, it can add up pretty quickly and begin to outweigh the cost of other airlines where such items would be included. By being careful in your selection of such extras and traveling lightly, however, flying Flair is a great way to travel cheaply within North America.